Okay, so one of the things we said we would talk about is investment. I've already done a 14-minute video on easy equities and how easy it is to actually invest in the JSE. Please go out and check that video if you're looking to actually invest in the JSE. Very easy. It actually guides you step by step. If you're a little tech savvy, you'll get it immediately. You don't even need to watch the video. If you want some guidance, please go on the video, go and have a look at it, go and make your decision, invest some money. Start with 50 Rand. Start now and see how easy it is. Don't buy that KFC burger, don't buy that chocolate. Go and put that 50 Rand into a company you believe in. Maybe a good example is a couple of days ago or a week ago, Woolworth shares were basically trading at around 22 Rand a share. So to put that in perspective, a Avo in Woolworths costs 30 bucks. So you would be buying a share of a JSE listed company that we all love and support and basically go shop at. It's a bit of a premium brand for 22 bucks. That's nothing, people. Don't buy that over. Go buy a part of Woolworths. So owning that share is you owning a part of that company. But okay, so that's just on shares. What I'll do is I'll do a follow-up video on that entire easy equities video. We spent around 1,200 Rand on shares. We'll track that going forward, seeing how much money we've made. If we've made money, let's put it that way, has the share gone up or down, and hopefully if we can get to the around about 10% mark, if better, we'll sell those shares, reinvest it again, and then we'll see. We'll follow that 1,200 Rand. Hopefully we can make it a 3,000 Rand or higher. The sky's the limit, guys. It's just making the right decisions. Even if we lose money, it's part of the learning curve for me and for you. We're going to do it together. Okay, so the next point I wanted to chat about is basically, it's in the same league as investment, but basically property investment. So let's call it about 10 years ago, I received great advice from a good friend, Gert with Hiemstra. He does very well in property, but we chatted about investment and how to actually make some money, get into it first of all. So that's one of the biggest things with all these investment things. We put it off too long. We think we still have time. We still think we still have budget, and then all of a sudden something creeps up and we don't ever do it. But to get back to the property, the advice he gave me is go for low price housing. So in our world, that is a 300,000 Rand property, flat. So 300,000 Rand, it's not a little bit of money, it's a lot of money. I get that. It sounds a lot. Most people think, yes, but how am I going to afford a property at that price? So when I bought my property, the interest rates were about 12, 11%. And so basically, just to convert that back, you're going to pay about 3,000 Rand per month for that property. But what was good when I started, I didn't have all the commitments I have now. I didn't have kids. I wasn't married. Luckily, I had a house I could stay in already. But what I would suggest is that you go, and if you're looking to get into property and you've got the money, don't spend it, especially if you're young and you're starting out, don't spend it on someone else's property. So go and buy a low income grade house, if I can put it that way. So I'm always between the 300 and 500,000 Rand mark when I look at property. Like to get closer to 300,000 Rand. So the big thing is go and buy that property. Live in that property. So if you don't have masses of cash lying around, your rent is 3,000 Rand already, rather go and buy a small property which you can stay in. You're paying off your own property, and when you grow into your job, or you get a little bit older, promotions come up, or you get your increase, you can always look at then renting out that property. So for me, a example is, I started out, so I had a house I was staying in already, and I went and I bought my first investment property. Bought it for 288,000 rand. Okay, so loose terms, had to pay 2,900 rand for that property per month. So again, it was I think, if I had to think back, I was basically getting about 10,000 rand per month for the job I was doing. So I had 8,000 rand to buy groceries, pay water and lights, all of those things, but the rest I was actually partying out or doing something with, buying something, not really investing it or looking to the future. So what I did is I decided, let me buy a property now. I'm still young, got a lot of time to pay it off. Let's take this plunge. So I bought the property for 288,000 rand. Great. So there was already a tenant staying in there. She was paying around about 2,500 rand. So just to compare these two again, you've got the bond payment of 2,900 and you've got the 2,500. So there's already some money that's being covered by the rent of the property. So the first thing, I went and I checked what the area was asking, and I actually saw that the previous owner only charged the amount he was giving out on the property, and I saw a gap, and I could actually raise the rent a little bit and get it closer to 3,000 rand, which covered a lot more of my costs. So just taking a step back again, and we might do some follow-up videos on this step by step, how to actually buy a property. What do you need to know? What do you need to look at? But the basics of it is, you see a property, you like the property, you either go phone the owner or the estate agent. So that's step number 2, phone the estate agent. Step number 3 is go and have a look at the property. So you don't want to buy a property and there's so much work you still need to do, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get it right. Step number 4 is actually making an offer on the property. So for me, it was a no-brainer. 288,000 rand. I thought the property was a bit undervalued at that price, so I didn't even put in a low offer. I went for the 288. Then the next step would be, basically, it goes from signing the seller agrees to the price, then the ball goes into motion. So one of the things that you shouldn't lose sight of when looking at buying a property is that there is cost that you don't see up front. Okay, this cost is bond registration fees, levies, also your property tax. So if you're renting it out, property tax, you're still liable for that, but the water consumption and the power consumption you could most probably hand down to your tenant, because they're using the actual water and lights. So also in South Africa, try and get a prepaid meter, just while we're on that point. So the hidden cost, so for a 300,000 rand house, there's a couple of fees, and I'm not going to jump into them, but I think I paid around about 20 to 25,000 rand. That's for registration, that's for bond registration, all of these things. So one step I did miss now is that you actually need to go to the bank and apply for a loan. So the loan amount, you go to the bank, there's good people out there like Uber and SA Home Loans and all of those people. None of them are affiliated to me, but go and check them out. They normally can do a pre-approval for you to give you an idea exactly how much money you can lend. Just also for you as the investor, don't lend the maximum, please. Don't go and say, I can afford 2 million rand. Let me go and lend 2 million rand. It's not the right idea we're trying to do. We're trying to say, great, buy a property for 300,000 Rand. Your tenant doesn't pay for 4 months. Hopefully you're not in the dwang there. Hopefully you're not, using your food money or your kids' school money to actually go and pay for the property. Make sure you try and keep that in mind when you look at investing. So always, try and still, cut as close as possible, but I would go and say 300,000 Rand on a 10,000 Rand salary. You could probably, if something goes wrong, you're not going to go to party or to whatever. You're going to you're going to be able to carry that cost. That's the big thing. So that's been my philosophy with all the properties I've had in the past. So it sounds like I have a lot. I've got 2. I've owned 4 in my lifetime, but I've got 2 at the moment. But in any time that the property or the person that's renting from me does not pay, it's uncomfortable, it's not fun, I'm losing money, but I'm not down and out. That's the big thing. That's the big key, is that if the person doesn't pay for a couple of months, there's a process. You need to get them out of the flat. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. You're not going to take food out of your kids or your own mouth. You'll be able to carry that cost towards when you get them out, and you can actually get someone new in that's actually going to pay. So yeah, I got a bit off track, but basically yes. So you've done all the steps. It's gone through registration. You've got your first property. Well done. What next? So what is good about a lot of the accounts we have in South Africa, I personally have an Absa Flexi Save account on all of my properties. You can actually go and pay in more money. So you actually you've got access to the money. So for in my case, so every couple of months I had a 500 Rand that I wanted to save additionally, and I paid that over to my home loan. So what it would do essentially is that it will make the capital amount less that I owe the bank, and the bank would only charge me interest on the amount of money that was outstanding. So the capital amount comes down, my repayment, you've got a couple of options. Your repayment gets lower, or you keep your repayment at the same premium or the same repayment every month. And then what happens is that you're paying more of this capital amount quicker. So basically saying that I've taken out a home loan for 20 years, I'm going to pay it off in 15 or in 10 or in whatever your goal is, whatever you can afford. So again, the quicker you get it paid off, the quicker it becomes cash money in the bank. Yes, so that's the big thing. So the quicker you can turn and then buy a second property, buy a third property. That's also a lot easier said than done, as I have not paid off my property. I've got 11 or 10 years left on my first property, but my philosophy was I'm not going to worry too much about it. I put away what I can. I've taken some of that savings and we've gone on holiday, which is probably not the best idea, but again, you only live once, so keep the balance right. But yeah, so in a nutshell, that is my investment into property. So what we'll do is, on a follow-up video to this, I'll take you through the actual steps, because funnily enough, I am looking to invest in property in the next couple of months, and hopefully I can take you through that journey step by step. So real world journey, saying that we'll go on the internet together, I'll record my screen, I'll show you what I'm looking at, we'll make the initial engagements with the estate agents, we'll try and record as much as possible, take you through step by step, lawyers, where we are in the process, buying the property, getting it on our name, getting a a tenant inside the property, and then also track that month to month. So I'm looking forward to do that with you. So please like and subscribe the video. I should have probably said that at the start of the video. I'm still a new channel, growing, but what we'll do is we'll take these steps together, and hopefully you can learn something. And if I've missed something, please, pop it in the comments. Your experiences, what you've seen, the do's and don'ts, and hopefully we can run through this in a lot more detail in future. I'll give you a rundown, like I said, step for step. So maybe we'll start a little playlist on how to invest in property, and you can go through it with me. Again, this is how I do it. You might have a total different spin on it, but please do share. Have a great day.